Welcome back to Buddy Buddy. I'm here today with my ex-girlfriend, my my now fiance.
Woo!
Whoop whoop. Miss Abby Elliott. Abby, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yes. It's been a minute.
It has.
I have an episode ready to come up. Tyler is going to come up, but yours will come up first. But life's been hectic.
Yeah.
But now we're back.
We're back.
We're back, and we're going to get it back in full swing. We can call it now. We can call it season 2. We had a pause in the podcast, but we're going to ramp it back up.
Yeah, it was rolling for a minute.
It was rolling for a minute, but life happened.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that a little bit more. But should we start with the elephant in the room of our now engagement?
Yeah. Let's start with that.
Well, yeah. For those that are listening that have only seen our relationship based on this podcast, you might think this is crazy.
Yeah.
You might think, oh, shoot, they just posted an episode in July, and now it's
almost November.
Almost November, and they're engaged.
Yeah.
A lot has happened.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that, if you would agree to the same.
No, I agree.
A lot has happened. At least
Good
enough.
things.
At least enough to be certain that I could put a ring on your finger and you say yes.
That is correct.
Very. So I'll let you start. So you want to tell the people a little? I'll pitch in here and there, but tell them the story of the engagement.
Like the day that it happened?
Yeah.
Okay, so Andrew came to church with me because we had some people we wanted to see get baptized, and we also were getting lunch with my pastor and his wife because, we've already talked about them doing our premarital and stuff, and so
Which I don't know if they know that. So Will and Chris, if you see this first,
yeah,
before we speak to you, we would love for you to do our premarital counseling.
Well, I mentioned it to Christy very nonchalantly, but not serious, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They had no idea at that point. Well, really, a lot of people didn't, though, that you were going to do it that day.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went to lunch, and I noticed he was kind of quiet, but honestly, I just thought that you were upset about something, but he was just thinking about his schedule for the day. So our plan was to go eat lunch and then go to Spill the Beans and do some schoolwork and stuff. And we get to my house because we were dropping my car off, and I was going to grab my stuff, and then I was going to change, and he just wouldn't let me.
I couldn't let him.
And I had on a cute outfit, which I'm glad now that I didn't change, but he was like, if I have to be uncomfortable while we work the rest of the afternoon, so do you. And I'm like, well, okay.
I'm surprised you didn't question that. But
I'm shocked that I didn't because I'm all about leggings
I know.
and a t-shirt.
It's very hard to get you in a cute outfit.
Yeah.
Like right now I got you looking good on the podcast, but that's partly because you just came from work.
Yeah. I taught him this today, but so yeah, he drove us towards Spartanburg because I live in Gaffney, and I noticed he had the GPS on, and he's Mr. Map in his head. So I'm like, that's weird. He knows how to get everywhere. And so I was thinking about that, and then I saw that we were getting off at Gossett Road, and I'm like, this is not the most efficient way to get to Spill the Beans. And I even said that to you, I think. I was like, why are we getting off this exit? This is dumb.
I tried my best to play it off. I was like, I don't use directions, but the directions are telling me to get off here, so I'm getting off here.
Yeah. And so we go, and then that's when it started connecting, I think. I was like, wait, he didn't want me to change. We're getting off this exit, which is the same exit of the place where we first met at Bella. And so we keep driving, and I'm like, okay, if he pulls into Bella Latte, he's going to propose. I just knew. I don't know why I thought that. And then I was like, okay, don't get your hopes up, though, because that's dramatic, just really dramatic. And so he pulls into Bella, and it's like, let's just drive through and reminisce. And I'm like, this is not real. This is not real. And then he parks, and he's like, we're not going to Spill the Beans. And he was like, little change of plans. And then he hands me a blindfold. And I was like, at that point is when I was like, okay, this I think is actually about to happen, or this is a really mean prank. And so we drive for like 10 minutes, and I'm sure that I looked ridiculous.
Oh, it looked like I was kidnapping you.
Yeah, like in the passenger seat, blindfolded. And then we end up at I forget it every time. Glendale Shoals, is that right?
Yeah.
I'd never been, but it was really beautiful. And we get there, and he's like, "Okay, you can undo your blindfold." And there it was. It was like a blanket set up with like a bunch of pictures that we'd taken and some flowers and stuff. And then our friend Caitlin took some photos, and then his sister and brother-in-law were like kind of hiding behind a tree, like watching it all. Yeah. And so, yeah, I was very shocked.
Yes. And I think it went very smooth.
It did. It was perfect.
I think my execution was solid.
It was very solid.
Especially since I did it on Sunday, the 22nd.
22nd. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I didn't plan it until the Wednesday before, or start planning until the Wednesday before. Me and Abby have been talking about marriage. I've been talking about proposing, joking about it. I've fake proposed countless times.
So many.
But we got to the point where, like, we're shooting for July.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I just need to go ahead and get it done. Like, I don't need to overthink it. I don't need to make sure overthink it, make sure it's to the T, perfect in my eyes. I said, I have to do something sweet and meaningful and get it going so we can start planning a wedding. And so Wednesday, I was reaching out to everybody, well, at least photographer-wise, that I knew. Yeah. I went through like 3 or 4 different people. And then finally, like, I don't know why I overthought Caitlin initially, because I knew she has been heavily invested in my life. We used to work together at Bella. And it's like she's known all that I've went through in my life, like through previous relationships and just work life, my stuff, like battles with surgery. Like, she just knows everything I went through. So she's like she knows a lot about my life. And so having her there to be a part of it was sweet. And so, and Caitlin, you were the biggest blessing in that whole thing. Not only for the amazing pictures that you took, but for the burden that you took off my back of preparing the place and making sure it was beautiful and aesthetic for pictures, not only, but for a moment that we will remember the rest of our life.
Right.
And so thank you for taking that off me, Caitlin, if you listen to this, because it just allowed me, it freed my mind and freed like my thoughts to just enjoy Sunday. Like, I really didn't feel like I was stressing too much. Like, yes, I was quiet and you thought something was wrong.
Yeah.
But it was more, I just wanted it to go smooth.
And you told them like a timeline, like 3 o'clock, right?
I told them 3 o'clock. I said, we're going to go to church. We'll go to lunch with Will and Christy, your pastor and his wife. And then all we got to do is stop by Abby's house, get her computer, and then we're heading that way. And so, honestly, I was pretty spot on with the time. We rolled up to the spot at 3:02. So
I wouldn't know because I was, again, blindfolded.
She was blindfolded. So, again, she had no idea what time it was, or where she was. But so Caitlin and my sister and Caleb, thank y'all so much for allowing to take the stress off of me, to decorate, to have it all there for us so that I could truly just enjoy that moment or the moment we had together.
Yeah.
And I thought it went really smooth. So if you haven't seen the pictures, they're on Instagram or Facebook. Just find us, go look at them. They're sweet. Caitlin, you did a great job.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
But now we are engaged.
That's wild.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me excited because, like, we talk about putting like action behind our words, and so we talk about marriage a lot and that we want to do it, and I think people thought for a while like, okay, yeah, because we've only been dating for like not that long, you know, and so now people I think are like, oh, okay, they were actually serious, or even with each other, like, obviously we know that we're pursuing marriage, but until we make it official, not that either one of us planned on breaking up with the other one, but at the same time, it's like we technically could have. But now that we have action behind it, or really you, I mean, I said yes, of course, and that was my action, but now it's exciting, and it kind of is like, oh, it's hitting a little bit that we have a wedding to plan.
Yeah. So we've had obviously countless conversations, obviously already since Sunday.
Yeah.
Like anytime we get a chance, like a thought comes up. Obviously, lots about wedding planning, but
Mm-hmm.
then there's a lot of talks already of like what we want marriage to look like.
Yeah.
So like when we meet with Will and Christy, like I hope, my prayer is that when we step into those spaces of premarital, that they're like, oh shoot, y'all are ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Like that's my goal, is y'all have had conversations that most people haven't already had.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think
that's their job, is to bring it out of us.
Yeah. I think that's what made us ready early on for marriage, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've talked about how, we started dating in the summer, which was spoiled us, of course, because then I had to go back to work and teach and stuff. But because of that, we would spend hours at a time together.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't even feel like it's been 4 or 5 months.
No.
And so
I feel like we could, like in typical dating relationships, in my eyes, I feel like we condense like 2 years worth of dating into 4 months.
I agree.
Because I mean, there was a streak where we literally saw each other like 72 days in a row.
Yeah.
And most people, when they're dating somebody, especially early on, they're like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, I might see you once this week or twice.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're in like a crazy honeymoon phase, then whatever. Or your situations allow you to see each other every day.
Yeah.
But to make time for somebody is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, like you said, we were spoiled with you being out of school. My job situation at the time, while I was still finishing my cornhole stuff, we just had an amass amount of time to hang out with each other.
Yeah.
And so I really do feel like we condensed a lot of dating fast, because the more we spent time together, like it very quickly went past I just love spending time with you, Abby. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's go on a hike, or let's go to the tubing, or let's go do this,
Mm-hmm.
to like, no, let's see if we're aligned.
Yeah.
Like, let's have conversations that truly see if we're meant to get married.
Right.
And that's why I feel like it didn't feel fast to me.
Right.
Like, obviously we'll be together a little over a year by the time we get married.
Mm-hmm.
But getting engaged in 4 months wasn't like,
was it hasty or like,
it didn't feel rash in my eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of the conversations that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
And the plan that we've already trying to set going forward.
Yeah.
Like, obviously there will be tough seasons. There will be times where we don't have it like planned out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's gonna be things that throw a wrench in our plans, but like, I think having these preset conversations is going to prepare us to take on life together.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, obviously the biggest news on this podcast that we're sharing is we're engaged.
Yeah.
I want to pause for a second, because we've hinted at it before. We hinted at it during your podcast, but Abby is going to start doing her own episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's going to happen. Like, she's going to be interviewing her community, people in her life that she loves, or anybody that really would like to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Like, Buddy initially for me was for me to rekindle friendships, to talk to people I haven't talked to in forever. But I want it just to be a space where it's like a breeding ground for friendships.
Yeah.
And gets ideas out there of what community and friendships look like. So that could be new friendships.
Yeah.
In the eyes. And so, if male or female, if you know Abby, if you listen to this and you just want to hear our engagement story, if you want Abby to interview you, or you'd like to be on an episode with Abby, like, by all means, reach out to her.
Yeah, do it.
Reach out to her, because we want this to be a space where like relationships are made.
Yeah.
And like people do life together outside of it.
Yeah.
And it starts by sacrificing time just to have a actual conversation.
Yeah. Not
just a, hey, how are you? How you been? But no, let's ask them deeper questions to get to know each other a little better.
Yeah.
And then obviously any guys, I've obviously had guys reach out to me that we haven't got to. I would love if anybody that's listening would want to reach out to either one of us that you would like to be on an episode and or hang out with us and just talk. And we're also hopefully planning to do couples episodes at some point.
Yeah.
So we can sit on the couch with another couple and do episodes together.
Yeah. We already obviously like talked about people we had in mind, but we're open to anybody. That's just people that we automatically thought of, but we don't want to rob people.
Don't feel like you got to be a part of the circle.
Yeah.
If you just reach out if you want to be a part of an episode, either with one of us individually or together with your significant other.
Yeah.
Because this is a breeding ground for us to build relationships, but also I want this to be a learning experience, because especially for us, as now we're stepping into marriage, like I want to be able to interview husbands and wives and couples that have been together for a while and be able to learn from them, so that when we step into marriage in July, that we don't feel unprepared.
Yeah.
That we're not like completely blinded to what's coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you listen to this, reach out. I just wanted to pause and say that because I want this to start back like fully.
Yeah.
Like obviously we can get into it. Like I was in between jobs. I was switching jobs. When I worked for a moving company that I hated. But now I'm back at Weedman Lawn Care and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
And it's been fine. And then I'm studying to get my real estate license. But now since you're out of volleyball, we can talk about that in a minute. But my schedule is open back up where I can really invest in this again and invest in the people that I love. And so, yeah. So, Abby, tell me a little about your volleyball season that took a lot of your time mostly, but I was heavily invested in it as well.
Well, I guess the last episode, it was July.
Yeah. So pretty much like it was right before
it was right before, it was before we had
pre-season.
tryouts, but August 1st we had tryouts, so it was literally like not long after our episode, it was game on. And so we had about 28 girls on JV and varsity, like all together. And last season, we didn't win any games, which was very frustrating. We won a set.
One singular set?
One set out of, it's like best 3 out of 5 for varsity. And we won one.
So you went however many and won.
Yes. And everybody swept us. Like they beat us in 3 sets and that was it. And so going into this season, we only lost 2 seniors. And so I was like, okay, we're not, we have people to fill their spots. And so it didn't feel like we were going to really lose any talent per se because we had people to kind of take their spot. And then we ended up winning 5 matches this year, which sounds like, only 5. But I mean, when you compare to last year, I mean, night and day. I mean, the beginning of last year, we're crying on the court because we don't know rotations.
Yeah.
And now I don't even have to speak about rotations. I get to actually feel like I can coach like skill and make decisions that will like help with strategy stuff, like just strategize and see what's going on the other side. Because I don't really have to worry about my girls per se as much. And so it was fun. I mean, it was definitely a change of pace though, because last year we kind of got to play everybody and just were feeling out what worked. And, we ended up losing every game. So we kind of just were like, well, let's just see what happens and what works and think about building processes for the next few years. But then this year, I think it was different because we had our people that we put on the court every time. And so, that was an adjustment for me and my coaching staff for sure. But we only lost 3 seniors and they were really good. But I think that us only losing 3 and the people in our region losing double plus that, like almost triple the amount, I think that will be very beneficial for us.
Yeah.
So
I can safe to say I was y'all's biggest fan.
Oh, 100%.
Maybe outside of Robin. But
oh my Lord. I hope she listens to this.
I hope Robin listens to this. If not, we'll send it to her.
Yes, I will.
Me and Robin were best buddies.
Yes.
Throughout the whole season.
Which was sweet.
It was sweet. I was very grateful to have somebody to hang out with at the games because I went to all of them. I think I went to every single regular season match.
You missed a try match.
I missed one regular season match.
Yeah.
Which was a try match at
Broome.
Other than that, I went to the rest of them.
Yeah.
And I can say I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like I got thoroughly invested. Like by like the 3rd game, I knew all the girls' names, at least obviously just first names. I don't know everybody's last name, but and it was fun watching. Like I wasn't just there at first. Obviously, I was there. I was just trying to get brownie points with my then girlfriend. Like I was just trying to be sweet and just show up to your games. Like the very first regular season game, I surprised you. You didn't even know I was coming.
Oh yeah, Chesney.
You didn't even know I was coming, and so I surprised you at that one. And then I was like, wait, I actually enjoy coming. I'm just going to come to all of them. I had the availability after work, so I said, I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'm coming wherever it's at. And
luckily, nothing was too bad, like too far.
I think the farthest drive was honestly Gaffney, and I already drive to Gaffney because I come hang out with you in Gaffney because you live in Gaffney. But I would say it was sweet to watch. I know that coming from what I heard was last season of only winning one set to that, y'all competed.
We did.
Like, literally, y'all showed signs that you can compete with pretty much anybody in your region except for Dorman,
which is
fair. Which is fair.
Yeah.
Dorman's Dorman. So, but y'all showed signs where y'all were competing with everybody.
Yeah.
Like, y'all had moments where you're like, oh shoot, like y'all could win this set.
Yeah.
Like against Gaffney or against Burns or against Bowling Springs. Like y'all probably should have beat Burns both times you played Burns.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all went to 5 sets in both those and had chances in both those matches. But it was sweet watching you coach. Like, I don't want to overstep, but I think you're an amazing coach.
Thank you.
And
I try.
I think other parents and your players would say the same. I know it's hard to talk highly of yourself, but I think you did a great job coming from only in year 2, winning 5 matches,
mm-hmm.
but competing in a lot that last year you would have had no chance in competing.
That's correct.
So I think it was sweet, and I'm looking forward to watching next season. Because now that I got a ring on your finger, it's safe to say I'm going to be at volleyball matches. I might not be at all of them, but I'm invested in Spartan High volleyball.
Yeah.
So, Coach Staley, you'll see me if you listen to this. You'll see me around.
Fair. Yeah.
I'll be around. I'll be there to help put up chairs or whatever at the volleyball matches.
Just very, very helpful.
Yes. So, since July, because I've went back and watched our episodes since we did it.
Have you?
And honestly, it's not cringe by no means because it's sweet, but you can tell that we have grown together so much since July.
Yeah.
Obviously now we're engaged, but that's different. But
I haven't listened to it, but I mean, I remember what we talked about and stuff. And as far as our relationship, and it's just, it's funny.
Not that's what made it funny.
Yeah.
It was sweet. It was like, oh, little babies. That's like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, little babies. I understand it's only been a couple months, but still.
It's like they had no idea.
We spent so much time together that it feels like 2 different people when you look back at looking at us.
Yeah.
To see where we are now. But since then, what do you think are some of the things we've gotten better at in our relationship, or things that parts of our relationship that have gotten stronger?
I think that, but we've done a good job of like entering each other's lives more. And so because of that, like I say that, for example, like I go to your church a lot. Mm-hmm. And try to invest in some people there, like Aiden.
Who just showed up at our house.
Yeah, she just
showed up. He just showed up at my house a minute ago. She just got her permit, or license, and so mm-hmm. she was driving by, so she wanted to just say hey.
Yeah, she didn't know I was here. But girls like her, and obviously, like you do the small group with the guys, but I still feel like I'm a part of their life because of you and stuff. And you come into church with me sometimes, and just like people like Isaac or Nicole, and mm-hmm. So I feel like we've done a good job of that. And because of that, I think we've realized and taken a step back that if we keep Christ at the center, then our impact is just going to be insane. Mm-hmm. And so I think we're already trying to think about ways to do that. Mm-hmm. And I think we did back then, but obviously we're in it now. And so it just like, we're more intentional about it. Mm-hmm. But I think that we do a good job now of making decisions thinking about the other person. Because now we kind of have to. But even before we were engaged, like a month or 2 ago, I feel like we were already doing it. Like even thinking about financial things and already making plans for what that would look like when we're married, or mm-hmm. should I go do this weekend? No, that would like interfere with our plans, or just like little things like that. We're already, or me cooking for the first time, like just things like I'm going to have to learn how to be a wife. Like, mm-hmm. not that I don't feel like I'm ready, but at the same time. Not
saying that the wife has to cook all the time.
Right. But
we're not saying that I'm forcing her to be the stereotypical wife. I'm not saying that.
But like, I'm already thinking about, okay, I have to think, is this going to impact Andrew in a bad way or a good way? Or how is this going to impact our relationship on just like, I feel like everything. So I feel like we've done a better job of that. So
Yeah, I think that's fair that we've done more intentional of forming our life together.
Yeah.
Like, I think when we talked about impact's sake, I think we asked, like, how are we benefiting the kingdom in our own personal lives? We asked that in the last episode, but I think we're now outside. Obviously, those still the same, but uh, I think we're now viewing more of the impact we can make together as a couple, like what we could do better to show that we're putting Christ at the forefront of our relationship.
Yeah.
And whatever the fruit comes from that comes from that.
Mm-hmm.
But that a lot of that just will come just from us being consistent with our own daily walks, and then how we pursue each other. The impact that we make will just be like dividends from that. Like we're investing in the forefront right now, just in each other and in our own personal walks, that we're going to see the benefits of it later down the road. Like when I went to ask your parents for their blessing, which was stressful.
But it ended up not being stressful.
You made it way more stressful than it needed to be.
Me?
Yes.
Why did I make it?
You had it made. You had me feeling like I was about to get interrogated.
Okay, that is because that is the vibe I felt like I was getting from my parents.
So, I guess you were just you were passing on the messages to me from your parents. But
I'm glad that I prepared you for it to be an interrogation, because it wasn't.
It was not. Like, your dad made some jokes about your previous relationships and how he viewed other guys, but there was not much intimidation.
Yeah.
There was more a lot of support. I was met with a lot of support, and them expressing that they're there for us. Yeah. Like, but also they were willing to address that there will be freedom. Like the support and advice and experience is here if you want it. But again, in July, we're handing our daughter over for y'all to start your own family. And so if you ever need to tell us to hush, just hush, because we want y'all to do what's best for you. Yeah. And you don't have to just do what we did just because that's what we did and we feel like we're having a successful marriage. Yeah. They want us to live life how we feel like is best for us, which I think is huge. Yeah. And your dad, talking about the impact stuff, he literally says, like, I feel like me and Pam have done a great job of creating our own legacy here in Blacksburg and in Gaffney. And they have. Golly. Everywhere you go, you no matter where we go, you're just like, tell your mom or tell your dad I said, hey, like, they coached me or they taught me, like, whatever. And the impact they've made in that community is huge. But your dad looked at me and said, I see the same kind of qualities in you and Abby, that y'all can either have, I would say, the same amount of legacy, if not more. Yeah. But if y'all continue to pursue each other the way y'all do, and obviously put Christ at the center of your relationship. Yeah. And that was just sweet to hear, that he has, like, full faith in us that we can have a marriage that's fruitful. That it's not just like this, we're just pulling each other along and like we're like ball and chain type thing. Like, oh, I'm just married. Like, yeah, I'm just going to drag Abby along for the ride, I guess, or whatever. And that was just very sweet. But I guess we can kind of throw it out there. We've already done some things that people don't do until they're married. Oh, yeah. But it made sense. Sorry, that kind of sounded weird. Not like that. Financially. That sounded really weird. That is hilarious. Yeah, financially. Don't get it twisted, people. In that regard, we're waiting. Yes. But no, so I mean, I got in a really bad wreck. Yeah, I guess that happened after the last. Talk about a wrench in our plans. Yes. So I totaled my car, Chloe. R.I.P. She was such a queen. I ran a red light, and that's just as simple as it gets right there. I mean, brain shut off, ran a red light. You had your eyes on the road, and you just. I did. I just. Your brain went. Yep. It's like I was driving. You know, I know that you people know when you're driving, and you're like, "Oh, how did I get here? I don't remember getting here." That was kind of what was going through my head. Yeah. And I ran a red light, and an 18-wheeler plowed my car. Yeah. Could have barely easily been a lot worse. It could have been. I laugh because everyone's like, how are you not traumatized? But I'm great. I think it was more traumatizing for my loved ones. Like, he was freaking out. Mom was freaking out. Fair. And my family, all that, whatever.
But with that, you know, we already at that point, when was that? Like a month ago?
Mhm.
About a month ago. I mean, we were already talking marriage well into like by that point. And so we were like, okay, well, if we're going to get married, I have to get a new car. Let's just co-sign on it together.
Try to get a better rate.
Yeah, which we did.
And then in return, we said that first, and then in return, it led to us just go ahead and getting on each other's insurance, like just doing car insurance together.
Yeah.
To try to get a better rate. And
I mean, it was cheaper.
Yep.
So.
And we've been had a credit card together.
Yeah.
Trying to stack up some points so that whenever we're married, like a weekend trip is not gonna like break the budget or like break the bank. It's like, oh no, we've been accruing points even before we were married. That no, we can get a hotel for the weekend somewhere or whatever.
Not anything crazy. I mean, if we wanted to, you know, down the road or whatever.
It's just to free it. Like we're gonna be spending money, like normal daily expenses, daily spending. We might as well just spend it on a credit card that's gonna benefit us as a couple in the long run.
Yep.
Now that we're just like going to like swipe with a credit card and build credit card debt. I don't advise credit card debt. I don't have credit card debt, but I do like the benefits of being able to reap the rewards from just swiping a credit card instead of a debit card.
Yeah.
And so I got you in on that pretty quick.
I was going to say, I mean, I just use a debit card forever, but then he was like, no, you have a credit card, but you just use it
like a debit card.
And I was like, I mean, okay. And so, yeah, I just Venmo him whenever I spend, or like if I know I'm going to spend.
Like gas or whatever.
I'm like, hey, I'm going to get gas, but then I'm going to get this at Walmart or whatever. So at the end of the day, just tell me the total or whatever. And so it's been fine. I mean, it's worked really well, and we're racking up points.
Yeah, racking up points. So we get some freedom, and like I said, in the budget once we're married in July, that we can do some things because we don't have to see it come out of the bank account. We'll just use Capital One points.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so we've done some things already financially that most people don't do until they're married.
Yeah.
Not saying that's what everybody should do if you're dating or pursuing marriage, but it worked best for us. Like, I have a very, I would say I have I'm pretty wise in the money sense, understanding, like preparing yourself for the future or like whatever. I feel like I have a good understanding of in that realm.
You do. Yeah, I agree.
And so once I knew that I wanted to marry you, I was like, I want to start planting seeds now so that we see the flowers and we see the fruit of it when we're married, when we're 5-10 years down the road. It's like we started with the discipline early so that we can play later. Like that's what your dad always says, like
pay now, play later.
Yeah, pay now, play later.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have that mindset now. And so I even had a conversation with her today. Like I want to like rethink my budget, rethink how I spend money for us going forward so that like we're in better habits.
Yeah.
Come marriage. Not necessarily like we don't do things fun, but like being willing to say no to certain dinners or certain things just because somebody asked us to, but so that we can achieve our goals.
Yeah.
Like our main goal is we're trying to be debt free outside of our mortgage payment by our 1 year marriage anniversary. I'm putting that public because I'm going to hold myself to that.
Which it sounds insane, but it's very, very feasible.
It's very feasible due to our monthly expenses that we think we'll have at marriage. Like obviously things could change.
Yeah.
Like I could wreck my car and have to have a car payment or whatever. Something could come up and there could be an extra expense.
Yeah.
But right now the
goal is a year.
A goal is a year, but if it's 2 years, that's still very good.
It is.
And so so that's like our financial goal that we're trying to do is be debt free outside. Well, pretty much car paid off, student loans paid off but by the end of our 1 year anniversary, by our 1 year anniversary marriage.
Yep.
So July of 2024. No, July of 2025.
Yeah.
2025. Yeah, because July 20th to 24.
Hey.
Meet you at the altar.
That's right.
Going back to the engagement and us, obviously a lot of this is hinted toward marriage. What made you so certain about us that you were willing to say yes when I got down on one knee?
Well, I guess I have to backtrack a little because anybody, especially church people and like my close friends, they knew I was like, absolutely don't care if I ever get married. Like, I was completely shut off from the idea. And honestly, for a while, for a good amount of months, I thought that the Lord was kind of changing the desire of my heart, like for marriage. But I think he was just preparing my heart without me knowing, honestly, for us to meet. But I guess I knew very early on because, one, you pursue the Lord in a way I haven't really seen in a guy in a while, especially our age. If I have they're older and, whatever. And you care about people being discipled and coming to know the Lord, and you have like a great spirit and attitude, and you're fun when it comes to that too. And so, because I think some people think that following Christ is like following rules and guidelines and not messing up and having to reach something before you can even accept him, which is not the case at all. And so seeing you have fun, because that's kind of my mindset, and so I felt like we aligned on that. I mean, even like little things that we just connected on, like taste in music or you loving sports and just being adventurous and stuff. I feel like it was just, we talked about this weekend, like little random boxes, like, oh, thank God he does this, even though it's not a deal breaker. It's just nice. And I just saw, even financially, like you are very wise with money, and just already we're showing qualities of what the head of a household should look like. And it was very early on to be like, I'm going to be really upset if I don't get to be this dude's wife because of all of that. And I just felt like our personalities didn't clash at all. Like I'm very much the loud and crazy one, and you're the more reserved one, but I feel like it has worked. And obviously you can be crazy too, but
sometimes
just around me. But no, so I feel like our personalities just meshed well, and it didn't seem like we were just bumping into each other. We just meshed. Our lives just meshed very well.
That's a very good way to put it.
It didn't seem like we were intruding on each other's lives in any way. It just felt very natural, and it wasn't like, oh, I have to go see Andrew today all the way in Woodruff, or I don't know, I guess I had a desire to see you all the time.
Yeah.
And which is very rare, because again, like I didn't want any of that. And then all of a sudden, like after date 3 or 4 of seeing each other, I'm like, why am I not with him? Like, why are we not together right now? And so I just found myself craving like your attention and time with you. So yeah.
Well, thank you for responding to that question. Obviously, you said yes, so obviously you were certain that this is it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to marry you. Well, we'll end it here because these are going to continue.
Yeah.
Now that we're locked down now. So there'll be regular episodes of me and Abby, so we don't have to continue and talk forever. But again, if you want to be on an episode of Buddy Buddy, reach out.
You know how to find us.
You know how to find us. Obviously, she's the popular one, so
that's not true.
Burn up the likes when you see the post, because I mean, I'm not going to match our engagement post, but
fair.
It's okay.
Well, I told him, I said, we have 905 likes. Was it 905 on my Instagram? And I said, all those people better watch our episode.
But yes, well, Abby, I love you.
I love you too.
And I'm looking forward to doing life with you. And Buddy Buddy's just a part of it. And
That's right.